I did do some buying in the S&P 500 this Wednesday after we got the tariff pause news. From a technical perspective, there's a lot of potential bottoming signs in the S&P 500 right now.
As early as April 11th, 2025, our chief technical strategist Larry Tentarelli stated publicly that he believed that the pullback lows were in for this cycle. In an ex-post with over 148,000 views and also on the Schwab Network, Fox Business, and other media outlets.
All right, folks, my next guest says that his best case technical view is that the low for this year for the S&P might have been put on April 7th. That's 48.35. I'm going to bring in now Blue Chip Daily, their founder, also chief technical strategist Larry Tentarelli.
There's a few very important things that I see here. So the first thing, down here 2 weeks ago, this was the highest volume week in the S&P 500 in 14 years.
14 years.
14, going back to 2011. Wow. And it happened with a major reversal week. This is a very constructive week. What we saw here was a very high volume selling flush and reversal. So the S&P moved 13% off the lows here on a tremendous amount of volume. Historically, that's how most major bear markets end.
Right. So that's a major buy signal.
That's a major buy signal.
What do you think about the markets? What are you feeling? What's happening here?
It's acting much better now. I think 2.5 weeks ago, I think we put in a major low into the S&P 500. We had the highest weekly volume in 14 years, and it was a 13% upside reversal week. So from the dead lows, 13% higher. That's indicative of how many bear markets have ended in the past. And then last week, we had another very strong breadth thrust higher. And it looks like this week we've got intraday dips that are being bought. It's all very bullish price action.
So it's interesting. So that you think that the low may be in.
Yes. I will say this. Last week, the S&P 500 had the highest weekly volume in the past 14 years. That's very similar to how prior bear markets have bottomed. The S&P 500. So right about the time that the fund managers have thrown in the towel on growth, that's usually the lows. 2 weeks ago, the S&P 500 had the highest weekly volume in 14 years, and it did that in a major selling flush and reversal. So we've got two trends to look at. We're in a weekly downtrend, but we are in a potential bottoming process. It's very high volatility, but as long as the S&P stays over 48.35, then the recovery attempt is intact.
Welcome to Blue Chip Daily, one of the industry's premier sources for high-level daily technical and trend analysis. Blue Chip Daily is ideal for both investors and traders of all time frames who want to be on the right side of major market moves and trends. We focus on over 750 large cap stocks, all major stock indices, over 70 exchange-traded funds, bonds, oil, gold, and Bitcoin. Sign up now for Blue Chip Daily, and you will get access to real-time portfolio alerts, premium Twitter page with intraday alerts and commentary, the chart of the day with best idea, daily video and report, and much more at www.bluechipdaily.com.